So when I was a little kid, I had this idea about life. I thought life was a collection of all our experiences over time. So saying true to this, me and a group of my friends, we have this annual adventurous trip where every year we go to some place new and we try out something new. Now this is something that is outside of our comfort zone. Now fortunately or unfortunately, the trip for this year happened a few days back. So that is why probably I'm a bit underprepared for this. But anyways, we went to the beautiful hills of Kodaikanal and we were trekking. And it was a long trek, it was beautiful. We were walking through the clouds, we were seeing all the beautiful views, and we had trekked almost 7 kilometers down. Now, as you can probably tell from my body, this is not built to trek. So it was definitely a bit out of my comfort zone. So once we had reached the bottom, there was a beautiful waterfall, we washed our faces, it was all nice and pretty. But then once we had to get back up, the beautiful clouds that we were walking through, it had started to precipitate and it was raining. Now not only was the slope steep, it had made it slippery. And after a few kilometers uphill trek, my legs started to give away. And I sat there on the rock. And I was like, God, there is no way I'm able to do this. I looked up and there was this huge mountain ahead of me. I had, on a bare minimum, 6 to 7 kilometers of trek left. I sat down, I told my friends, see, you see this rock? This is not a rock. This is my bed. I'm going to sleep here. You come back tomorrow, I'll get some more energy and then I'll go. Our trek guide then said something to me that changed my perspective. He told me, stop looking at the mountain. The mountain is huge. The more you look at the mountain, your brain will frighten you and you will not be able to scale it. Your brain will hesitate. And if your brain tells you you can't do something, if your inner voice is telling you that, that makes it that much more difficult to complete the task. Instead, what you should do is firmly place your next step and then the one after that. Make sure your step is fine and firmly placed. I followed his advice, mainly because that was all I could do. And sure enough, after 2 hours of arduous journey, we finally reached the summit. And this got me to thinking, what was the moral of the story? Well, the obvious moral is don't go trekking if you're fat like me. But I think there's a deeper moral here. All of our life goals, especially today, in this age where everyone is more interconnected than ever, we have huge aspirations. We have huge dreams, each and every one of us. Today, now more than ever. But most of us are never able to achieve it. Now, why is that? I think it's because it was the mountain. We all keep looking at the mountain and we all keep saying to ourselves, you know, one day I'll get there. Then 2 months pass, your friends ask you, bro, what happened to the mountain? Weren't you supposed to go there? Bro, one day I'll get there. And this is a story we keep telling ourselves. This one day never comes. So I think that is the reason why most of us fail to live up to our truest potential. Because we keep procrastinating and we keep looking at the big picture, when instead what should we be doing is breaking that big picture down into small actionable steps that we can start taking from today. The title of my talk, by the way, is Advice to my 18-year-old self. So I thought, what would I say if I met my 18-year-old self? And there were a lot of things. There were a lot of things that I could say and it would make his journey a lot easier. And that is what I'm here to share with you today. So before I continue, how many of you, before taking any major decision, let me see a show of hands, ask everyone around you, so your friends, your parents, before you take any major decision, you ask them for their advice? Okay, a lot of you. And how many of you actually take that advice, even if it goes against what you want to do? Okay, a little small, but still okay. Now, what I would advise to you is listen to everyone out, because everyone who's giving their time to you and giving you advice is wanting something good from you from their perspective. But that doesn't mean you have to take it. You only take advice that you feel is right for you. So listen to everyone, but take decisions by yourself. The weight of the decision and the full responsibility behind it should be yours. Now, when I finished my school, I was confused. And I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I gave all the entrance tests I could. I gave medical, I gave engineering, dental, even architecture. Then I asked my parents, what should I do? I got in somewhere or the other in some places, some in Bangalore, some in Kolkata. And I asked my parents. My parents are like these new age and orthodox, they're stuck in between. So they were like, beta, you can do whatever you want to, but please do doctor or engineer. I was like, okay. So then I saw my two decisions, doctor or engineer, and engineer seemed to be the far more easier route. So I took that path. But my mistake in that was, I asked again, my uncle was an engineer, so I asked him, what stream should I take? And he was an electronics and electrical engineer. So he said, take that, that's a core stream. Core streams never go out of fashion. I'm like, okay, if that's fashionable, I'm all for it. So then I took it, and it turned out to be the most difficult 4 years of my life. Because not only did I have no interest in what I was studying, I had to work twice as hard as everyone else to even understand what was going on. And it was affecting everything else in my life. Whatever I wanted, I had to cut down on that to actually focus on my studies, which I had no interest in pursuing after my college. That is my first piece of advice for you. If you take any decision, take the full responsibility of the decision with you. Because if you don't, and when and if the decision doesn't work out your way, most decisions don't, then you end up feeling regretful. And in many cases, you end up resenting the person who gave you the advice, when in actuality, they wanted what's best for you from their perspective. If it's your decision, right, you will always find a way to make it right. Immediately, it might not look that way. Immediately, it might look bad. But in the long run of things, I have seen from my experience that everything tends to work itself out as long as you believe and stick to the decision that you have taken. Jeff Bezos, how many of you know Jeff Bezos, by the way? Okay, that's good. So Jeff Bezos has this framework that he calls regret minimization framework. Now he was asked, how did you leave your Wall Street blue-collar job, which was paying you hundreds of thousands of dollars, and start this company called Amazon, which for its first 5 years, everyone told it was going to fail. Everyone, in fact, when there was a war between eBay and Amazon, everyone said eBay is the best model to follow, Amazon can't survive. They're not making any profits. How can they survive? Jeff Bezos said, I have this framework. It's called the regret minimization framework. So when I sit down and think about it, I think, what if I was 80? I project myself all the way to 80 years old. And then I look back at my life right now. And then I look at this thing called the internet, which I really wanted to be a part of. And then it was a very simple decision, because I knew if I didn't leave my job and go for the internet thing, when I was 80, I would regret it till the day I die. If I took the decision and then I failed, I would have no regrets, because at least I tried. And this is what the regret minimization framework is of Jeff Bezos. Now the time to start listening to your heart and do what you want to do is right now. Because you're right now in school, so you have the minimum amount of responsibility that a person can have. Take the time, think about all the different things you can do, and try out as many things as you want. Remember, life is a collection of your experiences. You won't know what you're passionate about till you try everything near that domain. Most of us are either stuck in the past, or we are playing a movie about the future. What we forget is the only moment that we ever have and we ever will have is right now. It's the present. How many of you have heard that quote, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift? What I say is, because I'm an engineer, is yesterday is relative, tomorrow is speculative, but today is electric. That's why it's called current. This is my engineering thing going on. And remember, one of the most said advice that I hear is follow your passion. How many of you have heard that? Follow your passion. Everyone. Now, how many of you actually know what your passion is and you're set for life? You won't change your mind on what your passion is. I'm surprised. My passion used to change like every other month. I had a new passion. Before you follow your passion, you have to understand one basic thing. Passion is the result of action. If you don't take action, then you're not really passionate, because passion comes from confidence. You can't be passionate about something that you're not confident in. Confidence comes from competence. If you're competent in something, you will be confident about it. And competence comes from repetition. You have to keep repeating even when it seems boring to everyone else. Everyone else would probably leave it after 3-4 hours. But if you can keep doing it for 8-9 hours, that's when you know that there's something there. You have some passion about it. Now some of you are thinking, repetition, nah. I'm a fast learner. I can learn things like this. And that may be true. Some of you are faster learner than others. But those who will keep repeating the task will end up being the best at it in the long run. Now, the people who think they're fast learners, they're probably being affected by the Dunning-Kruger effect. How many of you know about this effect? Okay, that's good. So I can say. So Dunning-Kruger effect is when stupid people are so stupid that they don't know that they're stupid. So their confidence is sky high. So this is the confidence level when you have zero experience. Let's say you're trying out the guitar. You have seen a couple of people fully rocking out on guitar and you think that's how guitar is supposed to be played. And then your friends ask you, like, yeah, I learned the guitar, tomorrow I'll give the concert. You still, confidence is 100. Then you get the guitar. First string only you can't play. Then like, what did I get into? Then slowly you learn about notes. Then slowly you learn about chords. Then slowly you learn about how to play like Wonderwall by Oasis or some Green Day song. And then your confidence is slowly lowering. You realize how much of it you actually have no idea about and how much you have to learn. So finally, when we get to the lowest level of confidence is when you're starting to get good at it. But the tragedy is this is where most of us leave the thing. Because most of us, after this, we're like, you know what, maybe this is not for me, maybe I'm not good enough. But the actual thing is we haven't put in enough work. If we did, then we would get enough experience and then we finally would become an expert. And your confidence would rise again. So this is the Dunning-Kruger effect. You can tell next time your friend says they're good at something, he said, no, you're not good. You're just affected by Dunning-Kruger. So passion, you have to understand, isn't what makes you feel happy or what makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside. Some of us have this concept that passion, second I'll be sitting down and then some passion will come and slap me in the face and I'll be all happy. I'll be like, yes, this is what I want to do my whole life. What was this all this time? It doesn't work that way. Passion is what you're willing to sacrifice for. If you play guitar for 30 minutes and then your fingers start paining, and like, you know what, chuck it. You're not passionate about it. If you skip out on parties, even after your fingers start bleeding and you don't go to parties, instead you still sit and practice guitar, that's when you know you have something. So passion isn't what makes you happy. Passion is what you're willing to struggle for. Follow your passion, but first figure it out. And try, this is the time to figure it out. Try as many things as you can. And trust me, it'll be worth it. Now, some of you are getting excited. You're making a list in your head of all the things you're passionate about. Don't worry. When I was your age, I was passionate about everything. While some of you are thinking, it's okay, I want this passion thing, but I find everything so boring. I'm super intelligent, man. These things just don't appeal to me, I'm too intelligent to find any of this interesting. And to you, I say, look around you. From the chair you're sitting on, to the shirt you're wearing, to the podium, each of these things have been created by humans like you and me. Over hundreds of years, thousands of humans have sat down and figured out the exact curvature of the podium, have figured out the exact shape of the chair to give you the maximum comfort. So it isn't that things aren't interesting, it's just that you aren't interested in them. So how do you become interested in things? Everything is interesting, we aren't interested in things. Even my YouTube channel is called Interesting. Bit of shameless self-promotion, but we can go past it. The best way to become interested in something is by reading a book about it. So this is my next piece of advice for you guys. Read books. Now, when I was a kid, I used to love reading books. Mainly because there wasn't no Netflix and I didn't have that many friends. But books got me through a lot. And what books are basically is a peek into someone else's mind and life for a period of time. And what they have, for example, these two books helped me a lot during my school days. How to Win Friends and Influence People. I mean, that actually worked. I was popular in school by the time I passed out. And Rich Dad Poor Dad, which is very good for personal finance. Let's say you want to become good at building your brand. So you can go out, you can try everything, and then fail because you have no blueprint to do it. So instead, what if you went out, you got a book by maybe one of these guys, Russell Brunson or Gary Vaynerchuk. How many of you know them? Okay, some entrepreneurs in the crowd, that's good. So if you want to build a brand around your business, then you should be following these guys. These guys have taken their years of experience and condensed it in 200, 300 pages that you can cover in 1 hour for only 299 rupees. What is a better deal than that? You tell me. Now, some of you are like, I don't have time to read books. This is the age of social media. My attention span is gone. And to you, I say, lower your time on social media. Because social media Actually, all of us have heard that social media isn't good for you, but no one tells us exactly why it isn't good or how it isn't good. See, the problem is, let's say this is our life, okay, and this is all the events that you'll ever experience, anyone will ever experience. This is all the bad stuff that you see, and this is all the amazing stuff that you see. Most of our life happens here in the middle. But social media thrives here on the extremes. You either see someone extremely beautiful or you see a malnourished kid in Africa. And because of that, your brain is a comparison machine. Your brain always keeps comparing and it ends up creating a distorted image of reality for you, which isn't healthy. This is something I created. I've said it in multiple places to various entrepreneurs. It's called the SAPien method. It's how you become good at being a human. You have to know what you want out of your life. And this is probably the most difficult out of the three. Actually having clarity about your goals and your visions. The second is action. You need to act. Just thinking about it isn't enough. You need to act and you need to take small actionable steps towards what it is you actually want. And the third is perseverance. When you're out to do something great, everyone's against you. Life will knock you down. That will happen. It's not like a exponential curve that you'll just keep going up. So when life knocks you down, you need to have perseverance to start again from the beginning. How many of you know Mr. Beast here? Okay. So Mr. Beast started getting popular in 2017. But not many of you know, he started in 2012 and he made videos for 6 years and no one watched. At the end of 2016, his videos had I think around 2,000 subscribers. And by the end of 2017, he had 10 million subscribers. So that is how he persevered against all odds and kept creating. So this is the final advice. Wherever you go, try to add value. It can be something as simple as you're walking in the park, someone throws the trash, take the trash and put it in the dustbin. Become a problem solver. The next generation is the age of problem solvers. Be creative and solve as many problems as you can. Remember, your life is the summation of all your experiences divided by the time you have. So to get the maximum life score, try to have as many experiences as you can in as quickly as you can. That was my TED Talk. Thank you.